I want to talk about motivation and energy, specifically making music for 2025 and things that I'm hoping to do to stay engaged or be motivated in the coming year to make music. Now, how this resonates with you, I have no idea, and I'm not claiming to be some psychological expert, but I'm going to share some ideas about motivation and also the things I do to stay engaged and what I find to be motivated. I start with this maxim, and this is something that I repeat in one way, shape, or form often, and that's this: we have far less control over things than we care to admit, and we have far more control over things than we often choose to exercise. I want you to kind of sit with that idea for a minute. And all it's really saying is that there are many things in life that we can't control. They're going to upend our life in some way, shape, or form. This can be, from the mundane to the severe. It can be our job, it can be travel requirements, it can be something major, an accident, or some family issue that has to be addressed. So those are things that we often can't control, and that's okay. We have to know that that's the case. But then there's a whole group of other things that we can control. And when we choose not to exercise that control, that's where things can keep us from achieving the creative endeavors that we want to do. And I'm certainly guilty of that. We'll talk about that. I did something in the last 2 days that kind of made me laugh as I thought about that issue. When I mentioned to Deb that I was going to make this video, she said, "You're the wrong person to make a video about motivation." And what she meant by that is that I'm always up, I'm super optimistic, I have a ton of energy, I'm always getting my hands dirty or messing with something. I really have little time that I just take downtime. It's just not my MO. How can I tell somebody about motivation or to be motivated when I'm always motivated? And that might be true. It might be part of my nature and my makeup to be that way. But I also think there are some steps I take to, stay engaged. And also, while that appears to be the case, there are plenty of times that I'm either not motivated or not directed in the things I should be doing. And that's kind of part of this conversation. So whether I am or am not the right person to share this message with you, hopefully you can find some value in it. I'm going to cover 3 ideas that I think are important to stay engaged or stay motivated, and we'll talk a little bit about each one. Let's talk about motivation first. In general, I'm not a big believer that motivation is the most important thing. As a matter of fact, I wrote a couple books about careers in technology. I'll have them here, actually. These are them. Kind of cool. In both those books, I talked about why I don't like messages about positive mental attitude, PMA, right? And I used to say that PMA without a plan is discouraging. Meaning, if you go watch a motivational video, but you don't know how to enact something or don't know how to change the patterns you're establishing in your life, that's going to be a problem. It's not going to achieve what you want. And, I found this when I watch some kind of motivational speech. If there's not a plan associated with it, something tactile that I can do, it annoys me, it frustrates me, because what are you supposed to do with that motivation? So I'm going to share 3 ideas that I think are helpful in keeping you engaged and perhaps develop or encourage motivation. The first one is establish patterns. I've mentioned this book so many times, Stephen King's book On Writing, where Stephen King says your muse is overrated. So when people are saying I'm finding inspiration or I'm looking for inspiration or I'm waiting for my muse to lead me, his take on that is he boo-hoos the whole thing. And he says, what you need to do is show up at the same time, same place every day and write. He's talking about writing. Or do the work. And I found this to be true. If I sit down and I say, hey, I'm going to write a song, and I just sit down to do it, and I remove my distractions, and I pick up the guitar, and I start working through chord progressions or coming up with ideas, what often happens is the motivation or the muse shows up. You start to become engaged in the process. Your creative juices get flowing. This is why establishing patterns is super important. So if you can set aside time where you establish a pattern, that's going to lead to being more engaged in any given project. Now, I'm going to go through what my morning routine is, and this is true probably if there are 365 days in a year, probably 340 or more go something like this. I wake up between 3:30 and 4:30 every day. I don't have an alarm, it's just what happens. I've trained myself to do this over the years. Now, I've always loved mornings, but this really started when I wrote those books, and I needed to get my writing done while still doing all my consulting and raising my kids. And I didn't want to take the time away from them. So I started getting up really early so that I could put an hour or two of writing in. Just establishing that pattern was hugely beneficial. And now that's what I like to do. I like to get up early, sit down with my coffee, do a little bit of writing, maybe do a little bit of learning. That's something I like to do in the morning. Meaning we watch a couple videos. It might be on music production or on writing or on playing guitar, any of those things. So establishing patterns is, in my opinion, more important than being motivated. I believe having a pattern takes the guesswork of being motivated out of the question. Meaning, you're just going to get up and do the thing you need to do because that's the pattern you've established. The next thing is stick to what's necessary. So necessary gear, necessary software, and necessary activities. You don't need that new guitar or the microphone or the new plugin or whatever activity you take on. I'll tell you something, once again, I did this the last couple days that is hilarious, a great representation of this. You don't need any of those extra things unless you really do. And think about that. I've been looking at a new guitar just because I like the Gibson, I like my J45, I love it, and I like the Hummingbird. So I'm like, oh, do I want to get a Hummingbird knockoff? And I've been checking them out. I played one the other day in the music store. I walked out of the music store and I said, I don't need that. And while I may want it, and maybe sometime in the future I'll get it, I'm not against getting things that are luxuries. It's certainly a distraction from what I need to do today. So just be careful about the necessities. Now, as a for instance, this is what I did the last couple of days. Because I write software for Google Workspace, I grabbed some code that I found online, I modified it, and what it does, this little piece of software, is it retrieved all my YouTube videos from a given channel, whatever channel I want. It retrieves all the videos and puts them into a spreadsheet from the most recent to the oldest. I then went through and I categorized all of those as either a cover song, or I should say any of the videos that were actually just music, just a full song. And I categorized those as a cover song, an original that is just acoustic, and an original that's more produced. I categorized all of those. Then I created pivot tables so I could see what song types I had done by year on my YouTube channel. I found it interesting. I also did every single song and have another pivot table that shows me each of my songs and have I performed them on my YouTube channel and how many times and were they produced versions. So once again, it's this huge distraction from what I should be doing. I think it's information that's interesting. I certainly see that I'm not producing enough, I'm not putting out enough music, so that's great, but I knew that already, so I didn't need to do this activity, and I probably spent a good hour, hour and a half playing around with this. So we can get distracted by what's not necessary, and that can be demotivating in a huge way. And the last thing is the idea that energy begets energy. Meaning, inertia is the idea that a body in motion wants to stay in motion, that a body at rest wants to stay at rest. And it's not exactly true to biological entities. We have our own energy and, we're not going to get into the physics of it. But suffice to say, the idea emotionally, or let's just say emotionally, is pretty true. Meaning, a lot of times, it's harder just to get started with something. This could be true with making music, this could be true with practicing guitar, this could be true with exercise, this could be true with preparing and cooking a meal. It's that initial step of just getting moving that is often what's in the way. With this knowledge, and with wanting to create patterns, even creating patterns requires this, you have to do that initial step. And so you have to give yourself almost like when I have an idea to get something done, I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna start doing it. I'm not going to, for instance, clean and organize my desk or organize some other part of my office or run analytics on my YouTube channel, which is absolutely unnecessary, right? What I found to be true is once you get into it, you're suddenly into it. You can suddenly lose 1, 2, 3 hours just doing that thing that you should be doing, whether it's producing music or recording tracks or recording vocals or practicing. The energy begets more energy. Those are the three things. Establish patterns, stick to what's necessary, and that energy begets energy. I sat down with my notebook the other day and I started writing out some goals, some objectives across a variety of things. That could be professional and financial and fitness and diet and music. So I wrote all these things down. I'm going to show you one of the pages. It was by no means comprehensive. It was just some ideas to get started. These are the things I'm really trying to focus on for this coming year. And this could change over time. There's no reason to have one set pattern. You can do New Year's resolutions and you could rewrite them on January 31st and rewrite them in February 15th, as long as you're moving in some pattern and not just being so flighty that nothing gets done. So these are things I'm trying to work on. I want to look for ways to simplify everything. Just take things out of the way that I don't need. And I did this recently with my recording gear. I put stuff away that I just never use and stuck just the stuff I need there because I don't want to be distracted chasing some rabbit trail. So simplify things. I want to be more fit. And so right now I'm doing 100 plus push-ups a day for 30 days straight. And I think I'm well over 100 in a given day right now. That's just where I'm at because I'm pretty good at push-ups. But I also want to get tennis will be kicking off soon. I want to do more hiking for the cardio because I don't really run and I'm not riding my bike at the moment. So fitness is a big one. With music, I want to mix faster. Okay, this is an important one for me. I can take way too long to mix something, and the difference between spending 4 hours doing something and 2 hours doing something or 1 hour really is not that great. Plus I'll improve at getting faster and then I can go back and fine tune, but I want to mix my songs faster. I want to improve on guitar. I may be hiring a guitar instructor to do this. There are things I do well and things I'd really like to improve upon. I want to have greater passion in my vocal delivery. I've been working with my vocal coach and I'm super happy with where things are going. As a matter of fact, we're going to be going today. But I need to be better and I need to ensure that I'm serving my song in the best way possible. So that's something I want to improve. And then YouTube. Overall on this channel, there's more I want to do. I want to make sure that I'm growing my presence here. It's important to me. So I'll be doing more with that in relation to the music. The next area is clear distraction. Take care of my necessities faster and delegate what I can. There are things I don't need to take on and there are distractions that take me away. So I want to remove those as much as possible. And that's something internal that I have to work on. This is always one that I have to work on. I want to limit or control the content I view or listen to. I think I'm pretty good about listening to things that have some value, whether it's the Freakonomics podcast or This American Life. But I can also catch myself watching short YouTube videos. When I say short, let's say under 10 minutes. And I'll go, oh, it's only a 10-minute video. I'm gonna watch this video. Maybe it's a scene from a movie I've already seen. Why am I watching that? I found it enjoyable, but it's not helping me. And so I want to be careful about that. It doesn't mean I won't consume any content, but really I need to put it in context and also, am I using this content consumption to distract me from the things I want to do? The last thing is I want to decide faster. Make faster decisions in music, make faster decisions in life. It's kind of like spending a ton of time trying to figure out what your organizational structure for your file cabinet is going to be. Pick one, you can adjust it later. And this is true really when it comes to making music, is oftentimes you'll sit there and pine over what can I add to the song rather than just make a decision, add something to it and try it. You had an idea, maybe I want a tambourine here, maybe I want a shaker, maybe I want a little additional guitar part. Add it. You can always take it out later, but deciding faster is going to introduce more opportunities to adjust those ideas. It's kind of like the inertia idea that you'll get a lot more done if you just make a decision, do some things with it, and then, oh, that introduced some other ideas for me and it helped push things further. So those are the things I'm working on. Those are my thoughts on motivation. I don't know if any of this resonates with you. If it does, let me know. If it doesn't, let me know. If there are things you need or realize that you need to change, let me know what those are too, if you want to. No pressure. But I'm letting you know what I'm doing, kind of how I'm hoping to stay motivated for this coming year. Hopefully you found it interesting or valuable, and I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks.